Malayali students are just the worst.
Shri Raghuvara
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage. I have reviewed more than 350 Indian movies by now, and today I want to talk about Hridayam, a new Malayalam language musical coming-of-age drama that was first released in theaters and is now available on Hotstar. It was written and directed by Vineeth Sreenivasan, son of the legendary Sreenivasan, and it stars Pranav Mohanlal, son of the legendary Mohanlal. For me, it was the second film that I have seen by director Vineeth Sreenivasan, who is also well known as a wonderful playback singer with more than 150 credits to his name. Unfortunately, I was rather disappointed by his 2016 film Jacob's Kingdom of Heaven, which I thought was too bland, too commercial, melodramatic and honestly even a bit manipulative. Fortunately, I liked Hridayam a lot more. It's also clearly a very mainstream, crowd-pleasing feel-good film, but it has such a nice and chill vibe that it's hard to not being charmed by it. It certainly qualifies as what we like to call Malayalam chill, even though it's also fairly commercial and misses a certain edge. It's a very autobiographical film in which writer and director Vineeth Sreenivasan incorporated many personal experiences. It was partly shot and is taking place at the KCG College of Technology in Chennai, where he and his wife Divya studied. At the beginning of the movie, our protagonist Arun, played by Pranav Mohanlal, just arrived there from Kerala, and we then follow him and his journey through college and into adulthood. It's a very loose film, not so much interested in a particular A to B kind of storyline, but instead just spending some time, actually a lot of time, with Arun and the friends and lovers he meets on his way. Hridayam, which can be translated as heart, is a really long film, clocking in at almost 3 hours, and it's almost like two movies in one, with a clear transition at a halfway point, with the first half being your familiar college dramedy, and the second half being your familiar young adult finding a place in the world dramedy. At times this felt more like an ongoing streaming series than a strongly structured movie. There's an episodic feel to it, with characters entering and leaving the narrative. And sometimes I wish the movie would invest more time in just a few of them instead of spreading it out quite a bit. But in the big ensemble cast, my personal MVP is without question the total newcomer Aswat Lal, who plays Arun's best friend Anthony. His character is just so likable and he's great with the comedic bits as well as bringing it in the genuine emotional moments. The movie's emotional through line revolves around the love story between Arun and Darshana, played by Darshana Rajendran. It begins like your typical love at first sight college love story, but it moves into a slightly different direction and Hridayam is able to really resonate. Pranav Mohanlal, who only acted in a handful of movies so far, does a really good job as Arun, even if I think his performance gets a bit bland towards the end when he's mostly just this really nice and softly whispering guy. But Pranav is able to show us Arun's journey from this young innocent guy to someone who has to stand up for himself, becomes a very mean-spirited person for a while before he finds back to the light. It's not particularly deep or nuanced, but it's very relatable, and I found a lot of my own experiences in Arun's story. Because it's very universal, meeting new friends, first love, screwing up, not knowing what to do, and so on. The question how your life could have been if you or another person made a different decision, it's quite heartbreaking. It's a grounded movie and not over the top or anything, but it's also not completely naturalistic and there's certainly a commercial touch to it. Sometimes it has kind of a soap opera vibe with the bullies at college or the many ups and downs and strokes of fate. And while it's not always completely my kind of vibe, I was nonetheless pleasantly surprised how it also changes things up slightly. Slightly modifies the usual college tropes or undermining the expectations, while still certainly playing to the nostalgia that comes with the territory, something that I'm of course only partially perceptive for. It's a warm and melancholic feel-good movie that puts a smile on your face while also kindly pulls at your heartstrings, which is also shown by the many small songs that are woven into the narrative. And apparently the movie was also reintroducing audio cassettes and limited edition vinyl records in India, which of course also caters to people's nostalgia. It's just a nice movie with a very broad appeal. It's totally harmless, and while I enjoy that our protagonist is going through some dark times, I wish the movie would have been bolder and more daring overall. It's all a bit too sweet for my own taste. It's doing a good job giving people a good time, but it's also not a movie that I would call particularly artistic. It sometimes leans a bit too much into an advertisement or glossy social media aesthetic, and it also spoon-feeds its emotions to the audience. Intercutting moments that were shown just a few minutes ago, or telling you directly that a few weeks have passed in the story, which would be totally understandable anyway. Almost 3 hours is also definitely quite a commitment for this kind of lighthearted fare, and I think the second half isn't nearly as fresh and charming as the first one. But in the end, it's nevertheless a charming little movie. So, in German I'd say, Hridayam ist zwar keine große Filmkunst, aber dafür ein äußerst netter, charmanter Feelgood-Film mit kleiner Story und großem Herzen. I give Hridayam 7 out of 10. It's more like 6.8, but I don't do that.
It was beautiful.
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Hridayam. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and also on Patreon, simply at @TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.